Radha, delighted to have you on the show. Let's get the ball rolling, Radha. So, experience economy, is that a contradiction in terms between customized experience and the collective economy?
It's been intriguing to me as to where the trigger point for change really is. Is the consumer evolution the trigger point for the economy to change? Or is it the things in the economy that changes which actually changes the individual? And I believe there is a certain interaction between the two. But clearly for me, and being in grocery for the last so many decades, I have seen that the consumer has got to be ready for something. And that is a change that comes with, sorry for using a cliche, where on the Maslow hierarchy the population is. And I think India has really shifted up from the bottom of the pyramid. And there has to be a lot of change that's happened to the Indian as an individual.
But are we getting there? Because you raise an interesting point, Radha, which is, in something like grocery, so very price-driven, so very functional, are we yet at the stage where we can have a consumer experience?
I think we are doing a disservice to the category of grocery by actually making the price the biggest selling point, because grocery involves several categories which require nurturing, and therefore there has to be a theater around some of those categories, which is getting completely missed if you actually go down the price route. However, saving money has never been more important than it is today, because you're spending money today on several other interests or aspirations that you have, and therefore I think grocery becomes the fall guy from where you got to actually save money. And personally, I feel that there must be a limit to which you actually chase price, because if you don't do that, the category is not going to grow well.
But, and Radha, where do you place the reason or the blame for this? Is it consumers' unwillingness, or is there an element here in the Indian marketing community that we're not putting enough marketing effort into explaining the experience?
100%. I think that's a great question. I think the problem is that the retailers maybe are not doing enough theater in the stores. If you go to the West, you go to the US or to Europe, some of the supermarkets are really worth visiting, even for the visual appeal.
Like a Whole Foods or
exactly
somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the US a couple of weeks ago, and I went to some of those stores. The kind of theater around very simple stuff. The problem in India is, are we differentiating grocery enough? Are there enough differentiated products where you move the consumer from the price? I don't think it's a consumer problem. The problem with price is that if everything is the same, then what I want to buy is at the lowest common denominator.
Well, maybe this is a challenge for the younger up-and-coming marketeers. We should put it out to them. But rather, moving on from this, because you're across multiple product lines, multiple SKUs, thousands of them. But most importantly, you're transnational. When you think about consumer experiences, and maybe this is looking back into your career, Future Group, retail, Spencer's, how do you make the consumer experience relevant to the micro markets?
I think modern retail or organized retail hasn't moved away from the top 20 cities yet. So imagine the headroom. This is a $400 billion category, and most of that growth is coming from the top 20 cities. I think we are yet to start. I don't think we've even started to some of the micro markets. Some of the products that the big brands haven't gone across the cities yet. It's not available in some of the micro markets. And therefore, that's really the opportunity. I don't think it's a point for discussion. It has to grow. There is headroom, and there is enough geography to actually get to.
Okay, and just because you have such extraordinary experience, Radha, let's take advantage. Let's plunder your experience. Take FMCG as a category, right? Are we getting enough exciting brands in that category, or is it rather vanilla?
The answer is no. I can't remember in the last 20 years any FMCG category which has actually made a paradigm shift in the way consumer uses the category. What's missing in the narrative is the word category management is out. And they are really chasing the price. And you need to quote from H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds. War is the victory of the dying over the dead, and there's the right context to say it, that pricing will be the victory of the dying over the dead. And if you say it in Hindi, "Pehle aap maroge, fir main marunga."
That's absolutely fascinating. Radha, that's a fantastic place to end. And I think that's a brilliant rallying call for young marketeers. So we want to hear from you, young marketeers on Trailblazers. Come up here and tell us how you'll do it. Thank you, Radha. Fantastic.
Thank you very much for having me, Jimmy.